country right now. We've got a ongoing problem with terrorist attacks, one recently in Australia. And many people are reeling from this situation. They're trying to digest what's going on in a country that's dedicated to gun control. We are seeing a siege. 3 dead after commandos storm a cafe. This is pretty serious. And the news from Australia is, where do they go from here? You know, they're all trying to get rid of guns, and they don't realize one of the best diversions or preventative measures they can do is to make sure people are armed. People are carrying concealed weapons. That would prevent deadly storm activities into cafes where people storm in and take over. Don't say that, Nude. Yeah, don't even go there. I'm going to ban you. Yeah, please. Anyone who comes in the chat room who starts talking about how they were some sort of a perpetrator of a crime, dude, that's like cyber stalking in the worst way, because it wastes public services. If you are somebody who knows or want to admit your guilt, contact the Australian police forces. Yeah. Don't come in here and start just to get noticed, pretend like you're going to, admit something that you did. It only paints a bad picture for what we're all about. Because frankly, we're not ever violent. We are totally dedicated to nonviolence. Well, I wouldn't say anything at this point. The sign stealing issue, Yuri Loki, it was an issue that happened in my local campaign when I ran for a state house. And it's more of a kind of a place mark in history. I'm not that concerned about prosecuting because, frankly, I just needed to know how corrupt the two-party system had become. And I found out this way when they stole 90% of my signs. Not 9%, 90%. As I tried to get to the top 2 position and push forward new ideas that would help greatly improve this entire state and make our budget under control and all kinds of things that I had planned. But anyway, Sydney siege, 3 dead after the commandos stormed the cafe. Local media have named those who died: a 34-year-old, a 38-year-old. 4 people were injured, including a policeman hit by shotgun pellets. Central Sydney was put in lockdown as the gunman, identified as an Iranian refugee, seized dozens of hostages early on Monday. There you go, those Iranian refugees, and Australia is not the only country that's having a problem with immigration and how it's affected everybody. Yeah, 90% of my signs were taken down. I've got the remaining signs up on eBay right now. I've got like 12 or 14 signs out there. I crammed them in a box and put them all out there. Just, somebody wants them and I'll sign at least one of them. Anyway, let's move on. This problem, it was with gun control being put to the forefront whenever an event like this happens, is part of the conspiracy, if you will, that goes on throughout the entire world where, events like Adam Lanza, the Sandy Hook event, take center stage. And we honestly don't even know who this guy was. It turns out that during the 2004 era, Adam Lanza, as a 10-year-old, was being investigated by the FBI. This is from Mail Online, and I will give you guys the link in the chat room. Well, I'm not saying he wasn't a nutcase, but I'm not totally sure that he actually killed 22 kids and 4 adults. I'm not 100% sure he did that. And even though it took the state police department in Connecticut, 11 months to basically get all of their ducks in line and submit their police report, it shows absolutely no blood evidence at the Sandy Hook Elementary School other than a little bit of drops outside the front of the door of the school. That's it. Nothing inside. No. All the redacted information claims to have a closet full of bloody... You never see that. So they could easily claim that all the blacked out information was, was there, but without ever showing it, we have no idea. And there was no line around Nancy Lanza's body where she allegedly was killed by her son at the Lanza home in the redacted evidence. There's all these different question marks about the witnesses, everything, including the people that were actually staging the event. Turns out in Bridgeport, Connecticut, 20 miles away, the Department of Homeland Security was running a fusion project all about children's and elementary safety for kids. Very strange. The whole thing is weird. Anyway, this is even stranger. Apparently, Lanza was on their radar way back in 2004. FBI officers went to Adam Lanza's home in 2004 to ask him about how he hacked through 2 layers of government security. But his mom told them he's a computer whiz who's just testing himself. He was only 12 years old when they became suspicious of what he was doing. So you got to wonder, was he like a guy they needed to get rid of? So they stuck him in the wrong place at the wrong time with a lot of bad people around him? I mean, could this guy, who's seemingly so innocent, turn into a raging, force from evil that no one has ever understood? I mean, seriously, this guy went from that personality to this, and then they've demonized him so heavily in the press that he might as well be none other than Balak, the demon from Star Trek. Yes, maybe he's the alien. I mean, they'll make you think anything's possible. The news is designed to program you, and they've done a very good job of it, I think. I'm programming you right now to believe this is Conspiracy Monday by flashing a logo on the screen. And now you believe it. See? See how easy it was? Programming. Human minds can easily be programmed. The Klingon Empire will never yield. Resistance is futile. But they're trying to demonize Adam and anybody like him who ever does anything bad, or create a story where bad things happen. Now, tonight we started our show with this concept of aliens. And we even had a video playing behind me of an alien existence far, far away. But I'm not going to play that. Because it's, when I talk about conspiracies, it actually trumps alien discussion, primarily because we can do something about conspiracies. If we have a serious shadow government within our government that's engaging in some sort of a deep secret plan to create wars and profit from them and ultimately kill off 90% of the human population, then we as human beings have the ability as voters to actually expel the leadership of the people that were bought off, the 2 parties, and bring in a third party. So it actually dovetails very nicely into a discussion about building a third party. Whereas if I talk about aliens and space beyond, we'll live in Wonderland all night long, because I don't know how many of you have been abducted. Have you, any of you been abducted or anally abducted? Seriously. Anyone here anally abducted? In outer space? See, we have no people who've been anally abducted from aliens. So here, classic swash of the American people, no aliens, okay? See? But we got a lot of people who believe that aliens exist because, oh yeah, they've been told on the internet. And a lot of people have been really, really amazed by all the weird things going on in the world.
Let us travel now at the speed of light, departing from our home star on a trip across the cosmos toward the edge of the known universe.
Okay.
Our imaginary journey begins at midnight on January 1st, when we prepare to launch into space at the speed of 186,000 miles per second.
Wow.
We quickly pass the orbits of Mercury, Venus, and span the 93 million miles that separate the Earth from the Sun in just 8 minutes, 19 seconds.
Add that little bit, yeah, that was a time shift. I was entering dark matter. Well, we'll get to Uranus later. That's just not something I wanted to go to right now. I wanted to talk more realistically about real, true, possible conspiracies, and we'll talk about space as a backdrop. Okay? That's the best way I could set the show up and make it seem digestible. All right, so we talked a little bit about possibilities of false flags, possibilities of a shadow government, possibilities that that they may very well be secretly working on creating the climate for martial law and the termination of 90% of the population. And then that kind of fits nicely into the conversation about the existence of Nazis here today, Nazis in the world today. Maybe not Hitlerian Nazis, but maybe the same people that funded Hitler when he rose to power, because he didn't rise to power on his own. He had a lot of financial help. Maybe the same people that funded Hitler actually are still around and they want to Nazify the U.S. So we could talk about the Nazification of the country called the United States of America. You want to do that? Well, hello, Mr. Sponheim. Hello, Ed. How are you? Well, I believe I'm concerned that our country could be right now under the siege of Nazis, and people, even like Barack Obama, could be National Socialists, and we may not even understand how that's happening. And I try to help educate people and understand that a Nazi can take any form or shape, and it doesn't have to be just defined by a person's heritage, German heritage. Now, I'm 100% against Nazis, but the possibility that your president, who's been supporting huge corporations and partnering up with major moguls like George Obama's relationship to George Soros, creates a very weird corporate national socialist scenario. Even the big healthcare companies that got all their major legislation passed that now they can rake in 30% more profit could very well be part of the national socialist takeover of our country. All right. Hey, Dave, I was denied something. Oh, let's talk about it, Ed. Hang on. Ed's got a problem. Ed's our homeless guy who comes in when he gets a connection, or a free Wi-Fi connection. Ed, you got a problem you have to deal with here? Okay. I'm going to make an argument that Barack Obama is no different than George Bush and has virtually the same corporate leaders backing him. You were denied shelter at an area homeless shelter due to my service dog. I did take a video of the issue and we'll pass you the YouTube link when it's done. Thank you, Ed. That sucks, man. Ed's trying to get a warm place to sleep in the middle of the country when the temperatures are dropping close to zero. I don't have a fax number, Mad Dog. Faxing is for people that don't live in the electronic age. Yeah, that's for people that still are hooked on, paper. Yeah. Well, this Obama character, I believe, is very, very similar to George Bush, and very likely could be a morph of him. What we do know, and we can establish, is that Barack Obama is Satan incarnate. Okay? I'm just kidding. We can talk about him being a puppet of the New World Order. Talk about him being the global world order puppet that Henry Kissinger has talked so highly of. But that only gives us a little bit of perspective. It doesn't really help us understand who this man is, who has intimate relations with his press secretary. Mwah. I love it. Love ya. Mwah. Just love ya. Gotta love it. So we don't know what's going on really in the private world of Barack Obama. Tell me about it. We've got a lot of questions, and Radio Shack does not have all the answers. Okay, somebody has a personal problem. You don't get to go to dentist and eye doctor because of my Obamacare plan. Sarkweather says his Obamacare plan doesn't cover his dentist or eye doctor. You're right, man. We're basically screwed. If you think Obamacare was trying to help you out, it was trying to help big, huge healthcare providers out, like Cigna, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Premera, Humana, all the nice, wonderful healthcare providers that'll suck you dry and take your house away from you and leave you on the street with nothing, just for hooking you up to ICU for like 16 days. Yeah, and you thought you had some power with the Democrats. Oh, God. Blue Cross Blue Shield, no doubt. They're a pretty stiff policy can prevent those kinds of things at various levels. David Hitch, I live in Fargo, North Dakota. I've been researching and copying pasting links for 8 years. I know World War III is coming. David Hitch, so do I. And I seriously started America's Third Party right around the time you've been pasting and copying links. And I've sensed it's coming too, because they're creating the environment for that. Thank you, David. Thank you for your concern. And I really mean that. Okay, let's see if we can guest off and see if those guests have tamed down, because I'm not being investigated for campaign fraud or anything. Everything is above board at the FEC.gov. Look up my name, David John Sponheim, and you will see it. All right there, bold print. I'm not bringing any money into bank accounts and hiding. Nothing's happening that's in any way untoward. Okay. The good thing about what I'm doing is I'm not beholden to big moneyed interests. I'm not part of the control mechanisms of controlled opposition. Unlike people like Alex Jones, I actually speak the truth on my show, and there's no holes or nothing tying me to the people that get him going. Like, look at his show. I mean, there's talk about him being some sort of a remake of Bill Hicks. Somebody believes that Alex Jones is in fact some sort of a Bill Hicks facial reconstructive. Maybe the real Alex Jones was different, and there's a guy running a story about how their faces are completely different. His face, Alex Jones's face, is actually different than the real Alex Jones early on. But I'm not going to play you that. But I can tell you briefly that Alex Jones is controlled opposition.
Nellies going, kill everybody. I get off when I talk about cutting people's power off. I'm a Nelly.
Alex Jones is, in fact, making close to $9 million a year. And whenever he discusses things like I'm talking in our show, he does appear to be kind of wacky. And that's exactly what the purpose of controlled opposition is. It's designed to make things that are true sound completely insane. Like, what if I told you right now, he's a spittering baking potato? He's a baked potato in the microwave. Who does your makeup? Oh, you're still talking about Ann?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Ann. Well, a lot of people are, trying to be accepting of people like Ann. The link to that video, it's called, the name of the video is Alex Jones's Funniest Moments Ever, Part 1. So Google that, Sarkweather. But making $9 million a year compared to what I make, nothing, hardly at all. I mean, I don't make any money on this, but I make very little money. I basically retired because the economy was in such bad shape. Unlike George Soros, who's a billionaire, I said, I'm really not concerned about money. So I disconnected myself from moneyed interests completely. I actually became a non-materialist and made a vow of poverty as a young man. Yeah, I don't make money and obviously don't collect it. Yeah. But that's how I've been able to become independent of this incredibly greedy world where everyone's sucking up to everybody that says, oh, you could make a lot of money if you just do this, Dave. No, I don't want to do anything that makes me a lot of money unless it's something I really do naturally. That's my whole point. I'm not here to mince words with you guys about how wonderful money is. I'm quite the opposite. I'm anti-establishment. And I know that the only way you can disconnect from the board or from the matrix, Mr. Anderson, the only way you can disconnect, Mr. Anderson, is to not really care about money. You see, that is what Zion uses to control your mind, Mr. Anderson. It uses your love of money to control your thoughts. And I'm not kidding. You get hooked on money, man, you'll do anything. You get bought off for a couple $1 million, man, you do anything. And there are people that'll go out, and you've seen the movie Survivor, the episodic TV show. Come on in, guys. Except there's no guys, there's guys and girls, and they're not coming in, they're actually outside. Come on in, guys. Those poor people in those shows, in those reality shows, are doing the unthinkable for money. I would turn down billions. This is a third party that's dedicated to the American people, not to money. And there's no way we can become sold out. Stephen Molyneux was endorsing me? Well, if that's cool, Doomzilla. You know, I've heard a lot of good things about Stephen. I have not seen more than a couple of his shows, but my sister is a heavy Stephen Molyneux watcher. And I get little, stories about Stephen talking about his relationship in the past. He did a whole series on Robin Williams and Robin Williams' life. And then he did another piece on Bill Cosby. I mean, this guy goes into detail for a couple hours. That's kind of cool. Yeah. Well, slighted. Like I said, I was slighted before I made my vow of poverty. I was a straight A student. I was the #1 student in my high school class of 700 plus students. And I also had the highest SAT scores in the school. And there's no reason why I couldn't have gotten access to any one of those Ivy League schools. So when I realized, and believe me, I'm bright enough to realize when something's corrupt and rigged, like affirmative action, I immediately stepped back and said, I don't really want to get involved in this money game. I'm more intelligent than that. Believe it or not, I actually saw it as a benefit to my life that I was freed of the incredible shackles of the sheepskin conspiracy, the brainwashing machine that sucks you into the vortex and makes you into a corporate suck-up who will say and do whatever your boss tells you because your job's on the line. And your kids need you to feed them because you went out and had wild sex one night because you got drunk with your buddies at the frat. I didn't have to go through that stage in life. So I'm not in any way vulnerable to greedy pigs, okay? And I didn't have to go to college. So that's why I made a vow of poverty. I look like a secret agent. Secret agent man. Secret agent man. Nope, it's all true, Rage 666. Just because you can't accept your life of poverty and love it like I do, doesn't mean I have to sit back and watch you call me a liar. So you call me a liar one more time and I'm going to ban you permanently from the room. And you notice I have not... Oh, not me? Sorry. Well, I just purged your statement. Thank you. And what was that government agency or private organization Mad Dog wants to know? Oh, I'm sorry, Doopzilla. Sorry. Well, at least I purged his hate speech toward you. Oh, I'm complaining about all of your opportunity. It does make sense. Why don't you put it into a larger perspective, Euro loci? Your brain is so incredibly focused on OCD activities that I find it very hard to believe that you can walk out of your bathroom without wiping your toilet clean 12 times. You are so fixated. Yeah, there's something wrong with you, man. But beyond that, look at the bigger picture. I want to protect the opportunity. Yeah, you're seriously suffering from OCD. It's obvious. I want to look at the bigger picture. How do we make opportunity for young people so that they can elevate out of high school? Especially Caucasians who don't get any opportunity whatsoever in our society. And why don't you get your head out of your proverbial butt and realize that this whole country is going to have to build up at the low level if we're ever going to get people thinking this is a good country again. All right. Thank you. Police hiding. Caught hiding their stash. Oh, police were caught hiding their badges at the Boston protests. Okay. Well, it's not uncommon for police to go undercover. It's not unusual to have a cop intermingle your protest rally. Da-da-da-da-da-da. It's not unusual to see armed incendiary attacks from government agents. Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen when you get out in public and have a major event. That's why we don't have major events. People think, Dave, you need to get out there and do some protests out there. That people will notice you then. Frankly, most of the protests that are going on right now around the world, around the country, about this Ferguson thing, are being funded by MoveOn.org, and I'm sure Occupy Wall Street was brought in. And just the same people on the mailing list. It's no big deal. Same deal. Same reference. All right, let's get back into space. Because I'd really rather, kind of use that as a backdrop for fun and enjoyable, la 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 la. Here we go.
We continue on, passing Mars. Jupiter,
Saturn.
Saturn,
Saturn.
Uranus,
Whoa, hang on. Saturn.
Saturn,
Uranus. There it is. There's Uranus. I stopped right there so you could get Uranus behind me. You know, I took the note that we have in our house, and they've got these really cool programs. You probably have an Apple or iPad or something. You can hold them up and look at the stars, and it tells you where Uranus is. Now, I was always wondering where Uranus was, you know, and now I found it. Neptune, they point out Jupiter. And I mean, you're standing there, you're under Uranus, you know. It's incredible. But the modern technology of the times may very well have been reverse engineered from alien space beings. In a secret location at Area 52, the possibilities of aliens actually creating the technology that we have today is very real. And that conspiracy theory is not the only one circulating the internet. There's all kinds of wacky things like this one. I've seen this on the internet. Demicron. Where they're raising aliens.
Contains explosive content.
Raising aliens in Dulce, New Mexico. Of course, I'd like to see the video, and I'll look at it as soon as I can.
This?
Hold on.
What is your name and what do you do here, sir?
This film has been allegedly stolen from an underground facility
I'm in need of shelter and I got all my stuff sitting outside. This is my
and the
service
alleged types of feeding
I don't have no place
substances. You
to
can
go.
see in the film footage the alleged hybrids growing in vats or containers, which can be
I
wrapped
need help
up
for shelter.
All right, so that's...
I got a lot of stuff that I have to carry and I have my service animal.
All right, let's go to Ed and his service animal. Hang on, he's got a video.
Need of shelter and I got all my stuff sitting outside. What is your name?
This
and
just
my
popped
service
in, hang
animal?
on.
Huh? And I don't have no place for shelter.
Ah,
So I can't get shelter here because of my service animal? Is that what you're saying?
yep.
Yes, I am, because... Well, this is public, sir. You don't have the expectation of privacy. I need help with shelter.
All right, thank you, Ed.
Sir, you do not have expectation to privacy. It's my right.
Okay.
But it's public accommodation.
Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it. Right. Love it. You know, Ed, that's exactly why I'm focused on Uranus right now. I want everyone to look at Uranus. Thank you. And I'm glad that you've come to the point where you can't get any justice in this country unless you videotape what's going on, Ed. Thank you. I see your point, man. Hi, Sarah.
Some tissue for these bags, but anyway.
What's happening? Oh, those? Oh, don't worry about it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little concerned that I've got a problem with Ed. He can't seem to get a place to live, and now they'll deny him access because of his service dog. And Ed's taken over the entire show, everybody. I'm allowing Ed to focus on his problem. All of you, let's think about Ed's situation. Now the pastor didn't let me video record him, then he has the nerve to call shelter security on you. See, at the very minimum, Ed can't get a place to live, folks. We've got homelessness in America. You got a president who's never mentioned the word homelessness in any one of his speeches. You've got all these Democrats thinking they're such goody two-shoes helping the world by allowing illegal aliens to come into our country. When a citizen like our great citizen friend Ed can't even get a place to sleep at night in a cold environment. You got a bunch of liberals complaining about the misuse of cop forces in Missouri when most of the killings seem justified. But you got a lot of possibility of false flag operations trying to shield the reality that people like Ed, who's facing a tough reality every day. don't get any help. I love it. Isn't it great? Yeah. It's the new look, everybody. I said I want to look more like a guy who's taken off and moving forward in life. Oh, yeah. Isn't that great? Yeah, it's the new look. It's Surfer Dave. He's back. Surfing USA. All right, so Sarah's going to come in when she wants. No hurry. Everybody's got a casual environment here. I'm drinking some coffee. Got a really good Colombian brew going here. No, I like the hair. I think it's cool. This is a real haircut, by the way. Yeah. It's number 2 coffee for the day. Thank you. Oh, so nice to have you in. All right, so New Mexico people are calling the police for even sleeping outside. Ed, they don't want to give you a place to sleep. They want to kick you out of warm places. They won't let your service dog in. They basically want to freeze you out. They're treating you like a piece of crap, Ed. I'm just telling you, man, it sucks. I'm not on SSI. I don't take any government money. I don't even want to be in any way hinged to the... it does look like a Floby haircut, doesn't it? I love that. Hey, how are you? It's Dave's Floby hair look. Yeah, I have a different hairdo every day. Absolutely. Thank you. You'll notice from all the videos and recordings going back, 6 years, that every single hairdo day is different. There isn't one identical hairdo day. You have an interesting new hairdo too.
Oh, I do?
Yeah, let's get a different background here. Yeah. All right, it's Conspiracy Monday. I am going to bring in a brand new background for everybody. Thank you. Sarah's in, and let's get the alien response background. I can't think of anything more.
One of the most amazing crop designs is not a circle, but a rectangle that seems to be a direct response to a message sent out into space in 1974.
Right. The digital message from NASA.
The message was a radio signal depicting our planet's location in our solar system and Earth's people, in hopes that it might be received and interpreted by an extraterrestrial intelligence.
Right, I remember this. Look at this.
27 years later, in 2001, this crop design appeared in England, along with what could be a self-portrait of the sender. This message matches the format of the NASA signal and describes a different solar system from ours, a picture of the sender, non-human DNA, and a microwave antenna they apparently used to communicate.
Okay. What can I tell you? I mean, somebody says it was done with a mower. You know, I think we should focus on the crop circle itself, so I'm going to bring in a crop circle background. We can start with crop circles because I think a lot of people would agree crop circles are the best reveal that aliens indeed exist. And if we don't in any way acknowledge this possibility, we are perhaps being fooled by not only our government, but, I mean, you couldn't even create that with the best edger on Earth and the most highly paid gardeners on Earth. You couldn't get something to match this, which is really interesting. It just kind of amazes me how people think that this is all accomplished with a lawnmower. I mean, seriously. Welcome to Conspiracy Monday. False Teeth Monday. Thank you. Okay.
That's exactly the look I was going for, though, Antique. Are you sure? You don't want me to do a haircut like David's?
You couldn't get people to get everything in alignment. This is almost a perfect, exact mathematical formula that creates objects like this. So if they've got laser etchers that space creatures use using ion beams, whoever they are, because I've never seen an alien. I told you I have a hard time believing that it exists. But well, I've got other ones, dude. I mean, I can go to other backgrounds. We don't have to just have that one. Sure. Bring on the backgrounds. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't do this geometrically from a far distance away with a lawnmower. I'm sorry. It cannot be done. I don't care who you think you are. You cannot do this. I know the 1.1 trillion, Ed, we heard about that. Largely symbolic Republican challenge to the new administration's immigration policy, yeah. We get it. That's the average news you get on the mainstream media. That's all engineered for people who don't ask questions about anything. So how was your day?
Very good. How was your day?
It was pretty good. I tried to stay warm. It's about 40 degrees out here in Washington.
Yeah, I don't think it'll freeze tonight. I didn't put that frost stop on my windshield.
Okay, yeah, it should be safe.
Yeah.
Good. My flow bee made the crop circles. My hair does kind of look like a crop circle. See that? The rotation and the pattern. This was probably done by an alien life form landing on my head.
Yeah,
Called by
I
hand
understand
and a
the
scissors.
fractal art, but I'm not convinced that I've seen the ones that they say, oh, look at the crop circle we made, and they're not nearly as neat as this.
Yeah.
I mean, they're okay, but the fractal art is not nearly as intricate as this.
I hope computers replace my doctor. I can't wait. We'll add that to our Technology Thursday show. Thank you so much for sending that in. That looks like a really good link for Thursday. Thank you. You know, we get our best links. Thank Habana Beans. We get our best links on Monday for Thursday. I was done by an alien.
I think,
You see the
it
crop
all
circle?
depends, on the families. I don't feel like I have time to do any. Most teachers don't feel. Some teachers do some Christmas things. Some teachers don't. It's depending on the amount of time the teachers feel like they have to do that. Whereas most teachers feel like they have so much that they need to teach that they're going to be teaching up to the last minute with the entire, rather than having anything related to the Christmas. Sometimes I say, Christmas break, and then I say, or winter break. Because that's only a week away.
I'm so glad I'm pissing people off with my hairdo today. I was thinking of some sort of a hairdo that would upset people more than these crop circles, and I think I found it. It's the Flowbee bowl cut. They are upset. They don't like seeing a guy with a Flowbee bowl cut. It's upsetting them because they don't like the fact that barbers are not needed, just like doctors are probably not needed with modern robotics. So people are going to be having a lot of problems with the idea of going to a robot, but I want to be the first person to have a robot do my surgery on me if I ever need surgery. Not that I ever will.
So I tend to agree with you, Doomzilla, as far as like Martin Luther King Jr. So as a teacher, I would probably do a project of, instead of focusing solely on Martin Luther King Jr., I would say, please do a research, please research an American that has made a significant impact on the 20th century. And allow them to, if you want to study Martin Luther King Jr., that's fine. But I would probably limit it to only 2 kids studying that, and then have them do a report about that.
Yeah.
About,
Important
I
people
kind
in
of want to
history.
turn it to Famous American Month rather than all about Martin Luther King Jr. However,
Well, you have to do whatever the school tells you, So
Well,
is there?
what did they tell you at college when you complained about your professors?
They told me to shut up.
No, they told you that their professor can teach whatever they want.
Oh yeah, technically you can, as a professor, teach whatever you want. It's true, to a certain degree. But it's important to note that obviously we have a lot of respect for the accomplishments Martin Luther King has made. Even though he is, by the way, one of the most infamous people in American history in regards to the FBI. If you guys haven't seen Snopes, Martin Luther King reveal, you will be blown away. I want to show you this. This is 4 things you didn't know about Martin Luther King. And I'm telling this to people who are Democrats, right? Many people who come in the room are Democrats. They think Snopes is the gospel truth, but right here, it's just 4 things you didn't know about Martin Luther King. Take this out and look at it online sometime, folks.
Hi, hip hop. His name wasn't Martin Luther. It was Michael. It was decided Martin Luther had a more prominent ring to it, so he went by that. He never legally changed his name. To this day, he lived and died as Michael
Right.
King.
Michael King is his real name. It wasn't Martin Luther. And while working on his dissertation for his doctoral degree at Boston, he heavily plagiarized from another author who had done research on a subject matter to King's. And as an academic committee later found out that over half of King's works were plagiarized. It says it right here. Now, this is Snopes. I mean, and then it goes on to talk about how the FBI had him under surveillance for several years due to his ties with communist organizations throughout the country.
Wait. Actually, stop right there.
Oh, these are the allegations.
Those are all the allegations.
Oh, let's find out the truth. Okay, number one. Snopes says, to this day, questions remain over the names, right? No records documenting a formal name change for either king had yet been uncovered. He never did a formal name change. Okay? And this talks about how he literally was. Like they said, Michael King. Two says, during the 1980s, activists associated with Martin Luther King's papers projects uncovered evidence that the dissertation King prepared for his PhD from Boston was plagiarized. See, this further verifies what I'm saying. And the story broke in the national media. King included in his dissertation a good deal of material taken verbatim from a variety of other sources without proper references. Okay? Anyways, I just wanted to tell you guys, this story goes on and on. It talks about legitimately talks about King's addiction to women, white prostitutes. That he'd frequently go to white prostitutes, and he was known for being violent with these white prostitutes. This is all in the Snopes article. You guys can read it verbatim. Yeah, and that's why the FBI had him under surveillance right up until the day he died. And many people believe that James Earl Ray wasn't a lone assassin, wasn't even the guy who pulled the gun shot that killed Martin Luther King. James Earl Ray contended that he was innocent all the way up until the last days of his life. It's all right there. Snopes is usually a very liberal rag sheet, but man, they go after Martin Luther King big time.
The FBI was unable to uncover any credible evidence of active participation or funding between the Communist Party.
Yeah. But they knew about his. They did
do research
about his with prostitutes. That was all very, very valid. Anyway, I don't want to bore you with the details, but you guys can look it all up yourselves when you go check the link I'm posting in the chat room. Snopes.com/history/American/MLKING.ASP. Sarah, do you believe that humans have the technology to map out crop circles? I believe it's right now still at its infancy, but we're probably at the point where we could start to do it. But go ahead.
I think I think that they have the ability to map out them, but not as rapidly as they say. The crop circles, to me, I still think that there's some extra force, because the reason I think that is because there have been tapes done of people saying, oh yes, I just used 2 boards and a plank to do the crop circles, and then they show them doing the crop circles, and they're very rudimentary.
Right. Now, I played this video.
I know there's ones about how to do it, but
I play this video on our show, and it clearly shows some sort of a vehicle hovering over the air. This is a TR-3B.
This is a
highly developed stealth aircraft that was developed at Area 51, allegedly. There's no valid proof, and the government has never admitted to it more than once that I know of. I know of an article that appeared in the the Tacoma Tribune that I saw for about a week or two that claimed that the FBI had knowledge of this being created. It's a vector-shaped spacecraft that could very well avoid detection because it has a video cloaking capability and can carry 200 men, paratroopers, at 70,000 feet above the Earth's surface. That's something that was stated in the article. I read the article, but then 2 weeks later it completely disappeared. I don't believe anything that does a lot of work debunking crop circles without actually showing the proof that they actually can do it. And every single video I've seen of them trying to make man-made crop circles has shown me emphatically that they can't do it the way these crop circles are setting behind us right now. They can't make these crop circles. But the government can make a vector-shaped blimp that flies 70,000 feet above the air, carries 200 paratroopers, and can have a video cloaking device. So I'm just, right now I'm at the point where, well, is the government that sophisticated that they can do this? Because if they can do that, they could do this. So I'm not trying to dispute what you're saying as illogical or irrelevant. I'm trying to suggest the way you're approaching the subject is illogical and irrelevant. So until we find out the truth, we'll never know. We could all live in La La Land wondering, gee, alien spacecraft or reverse engineered alien spacecraft or man-made spacecraft at Area 52. We could have this discussion all night long. And that's why I say it's irrelevant. All right, back to the chat room. Yeah, the Predator camo work on aircraft tanks now, yeah, absolutely. It could be scalar tech, and you know, we are very well advanced as a nation, no question. We are probably way more advanced than our wildest imagination. Many people say the technology we see today is actually the technology was revealed like 10 years ago. So if they've got holographic TVs selling in Beijing, China right now, chances are they're way beyond holographic TVs. They've probably got three-dimensional beings that can be put out there like a hologram and projected on a... You might see Jesus descending from the heavens any day now. That's right. They could project Jesus descending from the heavens, landing at the Crystal Cathedral in Orange County, and giving a speech to everybody as Jesus, and then everyone would flock to Orange County and see Jesus. It's entirely possible. And I'm not trying to be sacrilegious here, but they have the ability to possibly do that. 25 years ago, I went to Disneyland and saw holographic images projected of a witch at the witch house, at the, you know, the haunted mansion at Disneyland. Yeah, that's right. Project Bluebeam. Thank you.
That's true, Yuri.
I don't know. Vorpal Bite.
Loki.
I mean, that's
so
a big question.
perhaps if they use like some kind of laser lights, that would explain all the lights on the field.
Yeah.
So maybe they are all man-made.
Well, maybe no. There's the other theory that they've been reverse engineered from aliens. That's another theory that people are saying. The rate at which humankind is progressing technologically, with robotics coming, RoboCop's going to be around the door. About 5 years from now, we'll see RoboCops deployed. It's very possible this is reverse engineered, and that if our human being species has been hijacked, like many conspiracy theorists claimed during the Eisenhower period, likely possible from that perspective that if it truly was reverse engineered, that we are just food for the aliens and they're keeping us alive to feed on us, much like the Matrix and Mr. Smith. Mr. Anderson, I presume it's the Matrix, Mr. Anderson. It's the thing I despise, Mr. Anderson.
Exactly, Floyd Wall.
But they've taken over, and there's nothing you can do or I can do about it, Mr. Anderson. Simply to serve man for dinner, Mr. Anderson.
It's a cookbook!
It's a cookbook for Zion, Mr. Anderson. And we are just the ones to take the red pill and the blue pill. But you see, Mr. Anderson, what really disturbs me, it's the stench, Mr. Anderson. The stench of rotting biofuel. The stench of humanity.
Unless we could figure out some kind of remote control device for it, Meow TV2, and we can do it as a UFO.
That's right. That would be cool. Sometimes when I put my hand and get Sarah back rub, I want to do a ventriloquist act, you know. And whenever she says something, I would look.
I know, I should be like a ventriloquist, right?
Well, maybe so. It'd be kind of funny if you were like a living hologram and I was just pushing my voice out there, projecting it.
Oh, interesting. Truth Seeker 4. Bye, Water Rose. Hi there. Okay, weird now. Bye.
But there's no way I would be making up Sarah's dialogue on the fly and projecting my voice into her mouth.
Oh, man. That's so nice. Is that Obama in the shades? That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I see the problem, yeah.
We're having a lot of fun.
At least using the technology that we know exists.
That's right.
That we use.
David Nays saw fiber optic cable when he was a kid, before it was suspected to be invented. My friend's dad worked for Honeywell.
Maybe people do have the logic and ability to create these designs. Maybe people are a lot more intelligent than I've given them credit for.
No, man, this is Conspiracy Monday, and which we kind of take off on a different ledge and talk about things that normally people don't talk about. There are underground facilities in America. Here's one of them.
Hey, this is Eric.
Hey, Eric.
I'm in a deep underground cave system for our nation's food storage.
Yep.
And our well-being, I guess. It's a central locality. There's Big Ben.
So you see, there are underground facilities where they store food in Kansas. That's not the only thing that's happening in Kansas. There's efforts to actually dig underground in the middle of the country. There's a website called Terra Vivos. Can I move this now?
Yeah, you can turn it.
I'm going to show you an actual underground facility that is looking for people to get involved and invest. Check this out. Extreme survival bunkers.
If a nuclear conflict were to erupt, what kind of facility would protect its occupants from a direct atomic blast? If you ask Robert Vicino, the answer resides with his California-based shelter company, Vivos. It builds fully stocked underground bunkers designed to withstand massive disasters and catastrophes.
It was kind of like a Noah inspiration.
Owner and founder Robert Vicino is currently expanding the Vivos global network, hoping to bring long-term survival options to the average citizen.
Okay, so if this does exist, and we are in some way kind of behind the ball as average Americans, you've got underground facilities already in the world right now that could easily survive a nuclear attack, okay? But the question is, how long would humanity survive? And if these people, if these rich people think they can survive an underground, in an underground facility, and they've already prepared them, and that right now they're trying to poison the planet and create wars and destroy everything on the face of the earth, which is the conspiracy theory that many people are proposing. How in the world do these people expect to live the length of 60 to 100 years, which is the time span it would take for nuclear radiation to be even at one half-life of its level in the event of a nuclear war? Now, I agree that we probably should have these facilities to protect people. We should have a lot of them, and we should have civil defense systems to protect people all over the country, not just in certain key areas. And I'm not, believe me, I'm working on one particular area that is
that's always my trouble.
It's her trouble spot. I would give her a complete back rub, and I'd give her a body rub frequently, but I can't possibly tell you, Sarah's got a stress point right in this area of her collarbone. And it's really quite, I'm not trying to arouse other erogenous zones. I'm just trying to work on the area that she's stressed out at, during the day.
It helps Yuri Loki a little bit.
Well, you may be powerless to prevent what's going on in this country, but I can tell you, Yuri, if you take your somewhat illogical mind a little farther, you'll realize that the only way we'll ever direct our destiny is to separate from the two parties that clearly have been bought off and bought out, that are under the complete control of the monetary elitists around the world. And it's obvious, and you're completely illogical to not understand that. Thank you.
Thank you. He does all the big things to help me feel relaxed. And I should be giving David a rest.
Sarah doesn't get it. I get it because I'm giving her the pleasure. It's for me a pleasure to give her a back rub. You know, she's getting the back rub, but she doesn't get the feeling I get from giving pleasure. That only comes when she gives me a back rub. Then she does get it. You don't even know what I'm talking about, Yuri. Please leave. And why don't I open up guest chat?
I don't know.
Thank
you. Because then all the people that you just banned will come back.
Okay. Thank you. Now she gets it. Oh, God. Okay. Good. The guests have all left. Thank God. Somebody came in earlier claiming that we were being investigated. And there's been no reveal to our email. We're being investigated. It's crazy to think we'd even be investigated. We've done nothing wrong. Thank you. Oh, see, that's a real back rub she's giving me. Thank you. All right. Guess you can talk. You want to come back in and talk? You can talk. So, you know, places like Vivos is something you might want to consider. I think the initial buy-in is probably $30,000. Thank you. Lucky me, I know. How many of you have not had a back rub in your life? Thank you. So this is surviving the end of the world in style. So for $30,000, I guess he wants people to, you know, get into this opportunity to live in a 10 by 10 area in the middle of Kansas. I don't know. I'm half tempted to give him $30,000, but I don't really have that to spare. I'd rather, you know.
Why are you so devastated?
I could dig my own hole. Anybody with a shovel can dig a hole. It takes money to fill it in. That's a great line from the Ninth Configuration, or repackaged as Twinkle Twinkle Killer Kane. One of the best movies ever made. The Ninth Configuration. Look it up. Yeah, anybody with money can fill in it takes money to fill in the hole. It's soul is spelled S-O-U-L.
Well, he's talking about your feet.
Oh, my feet. Okay.
Right now, actually, he's wearing slippers.
I'm wearing slippers.
So I guess he has a couple little soles.
Thank you so much. That's great. So you give back rubs, and ye shall receive back rubs. Here's Ed, folks. This is his plight. Ed can't live in an underground shelter. He can't even afford to get a warm place to sleep tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
I'm sure Mike Rowe is getting a lot of videos go viral. Mike Rowe's a pawn. He's a complete shill for Walmart. He's a paid spokesman for Walmart. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't sell out any bigger than he already sold out. Thank you. That's great. It's not about the money. It's about the reach. How many people I reach. I'm not a communist.
Good job, hip hop.
Okay.
Is that stressing you out?
No, that's good. So Ed is constantly concerned about his plight in life. He was trying to get into a homeless shelter in his area last night, and they said they wouldn't take him because of his dog, his service dog. His dog has skills. His dog barks whenever Ed has some sort of a psychotic episode. So when he hears his dog barking, his dog starts barking, even though his dog isn't barking. It's a logical do loop that Ed goes on. I feel my dog is barking. Well, no, that's part of your psychosis. You imagine your dog barking, and then the dog starts barking for real. So it's kind of hard to tell whether he's really psychotic or the dog is really barking. Okay.
That was today you were denied, Ed? Wow.
Yeah, he was denied. Ed, what about getting yourself a large roll of carpet?
You did find a place to live last night?
You know where I would go? Seriously, I would go to the back of a carpet building and go wrap myself inside of an old carpet, even if it smelled like stinky feet. You know, it's bound to be warm inside of the old carpet. Go find an old carpet store and live there.
Is there anywhere that stays open 24 hours a day?
Yeah, micro house. What about a micro house?
Yeah, the mini houses are pretty cool.
Mini houses are great, but I was surprised how expensive they are. It's not unusual to pay a lot of money on a mini house. Let me show you one that's available right now. It's not unusual to pay a lot of money on a mini house. Yeah. Ed could live in one of these, Sarah. Oh, wow, thank you. Now I'm having a hard time controlling the mouse. Ow. Oh, yeah, there we go. So, Ed, what about a mini house? These things are $50,000 a piece. And a lot of you are going, huh, what? Yeah. Believe it or not, the image goes directly to a page. It's amazing. I was shocked to find this out. Thank you so much. I will give you a better back rub now. Now, I'm not buying anybody a home. I'm just telling you, this is a place that's 89 square feet. It costs a lot of money.
Rosalind Nicole helps homeless people. Maybe she can help it.
There's a little mini house. They're easy to heat. You can live in a little place like that. It's not too bad. Yeah, Vorpal Bite, I'm telling you, man. But those are cool. I would not mind living under a tree in that pod. I could see living there. I'd have my LCD TV here, my 42-inch. I'd have my laptop and gamepad and my Xbox 360. I could even live underwater in one of those things, actually. Maybe that's what I should do. I'd build an underwater survival tank and live there. Now I think I've got a thing to work on now, along with other things that I'm working on. I know you don't have 50,000, Ed. That's not my point. That people don't have any clue as to how expensive these things are. You can go to Home Depot and get something around $3,000 and build a little house out of it. They're called sheds. You guys have all the answers. Have you looked into folding houses? These houses are expensive, man. Well, a shed wouldn't be too bad. Let me go to Home Depot. Let's see what we can do. Ed, there's got to be some free property too. We can hook you up. In Kansas, they've got free land. Okay, I'm going to give you a plan, Ed, to get your life together. It's the Ed Shed Show. Let's look up sheds. Okay. No, I don't have any room. I have too many, issues going on here. Thank you. No, I'm not a hoarder. I'm not anyone suffering from a hoarding disease. I have a man cave, believe me. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I would like to put a pool table in. It'd be kind of cool. Okay, let's find you a nice shed, Ed. Something you can live in. Okay, we're going to take a look at the wood sheds over here. Ta-da! Yeah, really. Rim shot. Okay. Oh, well, this looks, I don't know. Would you like this one for $999 or this one for $799? Let's pick out Ed a house. This one or this one? These are a little pricey. But look what you can get. This isn't $50,000. You got a little porch. It looks like anybody, Mother Goose could be in this thing. That's what I'm talking about. $3,500. Look at that. Okay. That's sweet. Okay, now I'm going to go look for some area of free land that Ed could buy for free. We open up a new tab. We go free land, and guess what, Ed? In Kansas. There is free land in Kansas. I'm just trying to help Ed out, take a little break from the show. It's called Kansas Free Land, Ed. Yeah, outcast losers going free land, really? And you're starting to think where I'm thinking, right? You're all going, hey, $3,700. Home Depot delivers for that fee? Oh, yeah, serious, I'm telling you. Oh, yeah. Well, let me tell you. Well, let's be clear. Yep. Free land in Kansas. Yes, indeed. You can live in Lincoln, Kansas. Very nice community, Ed. Lincoln, Kansas is investing ambitiously in the future, offering free home sites in a completely new subdivision. Imagine a 720 square mile county with buffalo, farm animals, and wildlife scattered across picturesque hillsides. Imagine that it has 3,500 residents and no serious crime, but also local medical care, broadband internet, and 9 miles of Interstate 70. It exists. Lincoln is its county seat. Oh man, this is making me think I should go there. Wow. Yeah. With this, and this is only $3,700, you could live very comfortably. Okay? That's right. Where do you want to sleep? In the back? In the inside? Outside? You sleep under the porch with your dog, or you put a little service dog right there. All right, I just came up with a way in which Ed could have a little house, parked in the middle of Kansas, and homestead right there in front of us. Okay, we got a live 10-minute north of suspected murder of 3. He's veteran. Anyone got advice for me to award? Hunt him down. Okay, let's take a look at KABC. Police are searching Doylestown after possible sightings of Montgomery County killing spree suspect Bradley Stone. Everyone, we've got a situation on our hands. Peter Goose, thank you very much. Okay. This just came in from Peter Goose. Okay, Doylestown. 32 degrees in Philadelphia right now. Freezing. Searching for this guy. Law enforcement is tracking down a man in Doylestown, Bucks County, matching the description of Bradley Stone, the suspect in a series of deadly shootings in Montgomery County, sources say. Wow, residents of an entire apartment building are on lockdown. Okay, thanks for that link. Okay, Ed, thank you for taking up a portion of our show. I hope I could solve your problem. Yeah, I don't think anybody here really wants to talk about conspiracies. Do any of you want to talk about 9/11, World Trade Center attack? Seriously. No. You want to talk about the conspiracy about Charlie Sheen being on our show? It wasn't. It was actually a guy who got really into Photoshop and sent us that picture in 2012. It had nothing, Charlie had nothing to do with it. See, there's an example of a wacky conspiracy theory. Yeah, I'd like to stop with the conspiracy theories too. Yeah, let's not ask any questions about anything, especially our government. Let's just sit around mindlessly accepting everything the way they tell us it is. Okay? Good idea. Yeah, let's just drop the whole mindless, wild stuff about crop circles, and this stuff is hocus pocus. Yeah, this is just ridiculous. Oh my God. Oh, this ridiculous theory that aliens are contacting us. Oh yeah. It's absurd. You know it can't, it's all a hoax. You know that. Craft detected on the moon. The size of Chicago. Oh yeah, right. There it is, by the way.
In the work that we were doing regarding these objects. Although I was never told about this, it was obvious with what I saw going on around me and the personnel involved. So for nearly the entire year of 2013, we watched the skies in disbelief of what had occurred. We didn't know what was going on or where these things were. According to my calculations, these things would have been so close to us by now that we would have no problem seeing them in the night sky.
That's ridiculous. Let's just get rid of this whole story. That's absurd. Yeah, let's not bring up that terrible 9/11 thing that we talked about. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I don't want to talk about that. That's absurd. I mean, the Pentagon attack happened as a result of a plane hitting it, right? Yeah, sure. A white streak. Yeah, and the FBI did reveal 15 frames of one camera angle. It clearly looks like the tip of a missile, but there's no reason to look into that. Ever. No, let's forget about that, or all the witnesses that inexplicably saw this happen that saw a missile. They're all dead now. Okay. Well, let's not talk about that. No, I have not seen a Carlos Danger on our show. I don't know what happened to her. 688. Yeah, they're not real. They're for entertainment. That's because people like Alex Jones make some entertainment. I don't want to in any way be just an entertainer. I'm here to actually talk about real things. So let's talk about real irrelevant things to you. Things that really don't matter at all about anybody. Let's talk about Uranus. You know, here it is in the sky, high above you. I'm not paranoid, no. High above. Uranus is sitting in the sky, high above, and ready to take you on a wild journey of imagination. Let's go.
Uranus. Neptune. Finally, after 5 hours and 31 minutes, we race past Pluto and its companion moon.
This is when it gets really good. We're going to go on a little...
Our journey has taken us more than 3.5 billion miles to the outer limits of our solar system.
You're traveling through the outer limits of our solar system. That's funny. It sounds like a song or some sort of a show. I think it is. I think it's possibly like the outer limits. You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension of both sight and sound. Of both things and ideas. You just crossed over into the Twilight Zone. A place where all of us are gathered to ask questions, but are told not to ask questions. We're here to use our inquisitive mind, but are unable to crack the wall of voodoo that the media presents. You see, we are just the dupes, the innocent, mindless animals that are being led to the slaughter. But in reality, a secret force is taking over our entire world. And they push this propaganda for us to believe. So now I ask you, shouldn't we enter America's third party zone? Isn't it time to ask questions? Look at this beautiful picture behind me. Thank you. 46-1. Look at this. Isn't this amazing? I'm telling you, man. I mean, we are sitting in a galaxy of absolute amazement, man. This is the Milky Way. This is the heart of our Milky Way. That's Alpha Centaurian over in the corner. In the infinite universe, as Carl Sagan used to call it. And we're just a little tiny dot, and we're worried about all this stuff on this little teeny show. You realize how completely insignificant we are? Seriously. My dad used to say this to me all the time, and it's like, David, do you realize we're just little teeny specks of dust? We're just tiny little people out there. We don't even matter. Hey, everybody, it's me. I'm just a little speck of dust. Do you believe in aliens? I personally don't, no. Sarah does. But, you know, I tend to believe that the government has kind of a secret plan to do a lot of weird stuff. So she doesn't believe that. So, but you see how irrelevant my statements are? I'm just in the middle of nowhere. Nobody cares about me. Whoa, there I am. Yeah, front row center. So we like to think of ourselves as really important people. Everybody wants to think of themselves as important people. But, you know, frankly, in the big picture, we're just little dots, not only in space, but in time. Nobody cares about the Ploujuli family in Crete that were living 10,000 BC. I have not been abducted.
I hear about them.
No, but you don't even know about the Ploujuli family. I just told you about them. There's no written oral record of the Ploujuli family. I just grabbed that word out of my mind. I'm not frightened to believe I say aliens exist. But I am frightened to believe that aliens do exist. Yeah. Here's a great background. Captain Howdy. Whoa. A 3D sperm fertilization background. Wow. That is kind of cool. I'll check that out. Thanks, Captain Howdy. Boy, I thought this show couldn't get any weirder, and some guy sends me a 3-dimensional animation of a sperm and an egg and a gamete. When they gamete. And the zygote. And the zygote. We're having some fun tonight on Conspiracy Monday, aren't we? Hey there, buckaroos. What do you say we take a little wild space travel through outer space some more and go deeper into the possible existence of infinity? How many of you people believe that you could comprehend infinity? Well, I don't believe any of you can comprehend infinity. I can, but I don't think any of you can. Seriously. Where does it end? Just take your little brain, your little pea brain, no offense, but we've all got little pea brains, to go to infinity and beyond. Just imagine, go out there, way out there, and where are you going to stop? What's beyond? Question yourself. Gentle heart, you can't even get to the bathroom soon enough to, relieve yourself, let alone travel at the speed of light. Come on, man. Let's be real. No, I didn't call you stupid. I called the human race a bunch of pea brains. Oh, it's nothing personal. We're all pea brains. Thank you. It's time for Sarah to enjoy dinner, and I'm going to just kick back and talk to you guys for a little. Well, it's a nice save. It's how I said it earlier. And I was never calling anybody a retard the other night. I just said anybody who doesn't realize the need for a third party, I would consider mentally retarded. That's all. I wasn't calling any of you retards. Well, thank you. Well, technically, the concept of infinity and nothing are the same. 1 over 0 is infinity. 0 can go into 1 an infinite number of times. So we're out there, man. So if the possibility exists that there is no end to space, and that the scientists who are currently studying this aren't correct when they think that somehow our universe wraps around on itself, and then I ask you, what's beyond our universe? Oh, well, another universe. Okay, what's beyond the other universe? Well, there's lots of universes. What's beyond lots of universes? They don't have any answers. So, aside from the fact that people who are astrophysicists can't answer this question, I'm not going to answer it for you either. But I can tell you that in the infinite universe, anything is possible. And they have come up with a study. It's called the Drake equation. And the Drake equation, simply put, says that with the infinite possibility of infinite space comes a 100% guarantee proof of life form outside of our universe. And I'm not making that up.
Maybe they meant that there's 100% guaranteed proof of life in the universe, and we're it.
Maybe. That's a very interesting position you just took. We are the only life in the universe. That's very lonely. Very lonely world out there.
At least it's not totally lonely. I mean, I'm here with you, and that makes it less.
I know. Without you, I would be very lonely.
All the lonely people.
Hold it. Hold that thought. Oh, I think I found another girlfriend, Sarah.
Oh, good.
She's right there on the beach. Hey. Let me see if I can talk to her. You're looking pretty hot. You see, we traveled to the entire universe and beyond. And we landed right back here on the beach with this beautiful girl. Hey, I'm over here. Hey, Miss Black and White. Okay, luckily for you folks, Sarah gets to come in the room and replace you with a real human being, not an audio animatrized presidential robot like me.
Well, you guys are talking about division and numbers. Can you explain or show me a video that has the actual graphically represents or with models represents a fraction divided by a fraction? For instance, 3 and 4/10 divided by 6/10. I mean, without the numbers, but just like the visual representation of that. Kind of having difficulty working my mind around that one.
That would be interesting, yeah. It's hard to visually represent things unless you break them down to the common denominator. And then kids will understand everything. And the best way to do that is multiply both denominators by each other and come up with the largest denominator and factor down from there. But don't ask me any questions. I'm just an idiot savant.
I'm asking you.
Well, I don't want to answer because it's just too complicated.
It is. 3 4/10 divided by 6/10. I mean, I know it's 34 divided by 6, but I actually it's decimals.
Okay. Sarah's going to take you on a journey of mathematical proportion now.
Can I write it in the room?
Go ahead.
I'm specifically talking about 3.4 divided by 0.6. I'm out. Oh no, math. No, I mean, you know what? I have this really great representation for adding decimals, subtracting decimals, multiplying decimals. I don't think that it's going to sink our STEM scores. I think it'll raise our STEM scores, especially if we can describe decimals in more than one way and describe fractions and be able to fluidly relate to that. I see arc weather. Bye. Well, we can talk about something else, Rosalind. We don't have to talk about. Yes, that's correct. 1648. That is correct. That's the correct answer. My question is, no, that's not what Common Core is, 5148. You should really check out corestandards.org. It's trying to actually raise, let me give you an actual link. It's actually trying to raise kids, our STEM scores on a world stage. That's wrong. That's wrong. You think it's communists? Ideology? You wish you could just clear it. I know if you're on a test. No, something's not right just because you tried. You know there's no such thing as nothing because nothing is actually everything, which is infinite, and then again it might not be nothing. I mean, I really think that people should look at the actual standards before they judge the standards. When you were taking physics, it was not good enough to have an answer. You had to provide the details of how you arrived at your answer. Common Core is very similar to that. That's exactly right, 3824. I don't ignore you because of your black, Captain Howdy. I just simply didn't see it because of all the other things I was working on. Yes. 0 is like a magical number. Outcast loser. There's a couple of soccer players that play for Moscow named what? Really? I would do that, Captain Howdy, if David asked me. Thank you, Ticking Time Bags. Oh, yes, 9 is a magical number too. I guess all numbers are magical in their own way. Okay, I want to say dividing decimals graphic. see. Images for dividing decimals, graphic organizer. 1 is the loneliest number. Oh, maybe this works. 3 times. But what I'm really looking for is something 12 into groups of 3, 4 into groups of 2/3. In groups of 2/3. Wouldn't it be 3 and 4/10 in a group of 6/10 each? I thought that was the answer, but that doesn't quite make sense to me, because if you take 1 and divide it into 6/10, you end up with, what is it? 60? No. I'm not really bad at math, but I am bad at one divided by 6 tenths is 10/6. But which is over 1. I guess I am bad at visually understanding that division issue. I mean, I know how to do it, but how can I show that graphically? I'm still working on the previous question. Oh, that's okay. 1648. The question is, how can you show it graphically? How could you show it with like objects? You know, with a cake. If you had 3 and 4/10 of a cake, how do you divide it into 6/10 of a cake? I know you multiply by the reciprocal. I guess I'm asking, why do you multiply by the reciprocal? I guess that's what I'm asking, is I'm asking a little bit deeper question. Why do you multiply by the reciprocal? Is it because my teacher told me to do so in school? I mean, I don't think it's just that. I want to go a little bit deeper. And I know, yes, when there's, you used to ask, why care? Because there's always a need to know. Core knowledge foundation. And what is that? Monarch, is that something that they're trying to teach us? $20 divided by times 25 cents. I don't need to smoke anything to go that deep, Alpha Dog. I mean, I can just simply ask those questions and go that deep. That's why I don't smoke anything. Yes, I do know that Puff the Magic Dragon was a song based on heroin use and chasing the dragon, and the whole dragon issue with the drug trade. Yeah, just ask those questions. Why is that the case? Thank you, Meow. Let me look at this.
Math teacher Eileen Ryan from Williamsville's Maple West Elementary teaches us basic math using a base 10. When you and I were in school, we used to just memorize 9 plus 6 equals 15. Not anymore. With the Common Core, students need to understand why that's the case, and Mrs. Ryan is here to explain.
Thank you.
Well, I want to see this.
Our young learners might not be altogether comfortable thinking about what 9
division
plus 6 is. They are quite comfortable thinking about their friend 10. 10 is emphasized in our young grades as we're working in a base 10 system. So if we can partner 9
Let me
to
look
a number
up here.
9 or 10,
Where's that?
we can help our students see what not
9 plus 6. Okay, that's... I'm just trying to get into here. Make simple arithmetic as common as calculus. It's... Yes, I guess it does make math more complex because we want people to be thinking a little bit more deeply about math. That's true.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
That's hilarious. That is very funny. I will say that's true. Hilarious. Okay, but I just... If you don't invert the fraction and multiply by the reciprocal, you're dividing the whole, the denominator, with each other. You're looking to divide the whole by the piece. Numerator, therefore you divide the piece by the whole. Hi, David Nation. I will add something so it becomes more familiar. I mean, I know that the answer is, like he said, 17/3. You hate numbers, Butterick? I actually don't. White's book, Charlotte's Web, Common Core, exposed Common Core is Agenda 21. Alright, you want to give me that link again, Monarch?
A lot of people are concerned that Agenda 21 has been corrupted and has been a tool of the global world government to impose their propaganda on the society we live in. And I'm going to turn the heater on. What do you think?
I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe I should go put that thing on my... Maybe I should put that thing on my car.
I'll go do it. I'll take care of it for you.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. You want something hot to drink, like hot cocoa?
Yeah, that would be really good.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to put this on top of my coffee.
I will definitely look at it, Monarch, about that Common Core webs. You're saying E.B. White's Charlotte Web exposes Common Core? That doesn't make any sense. Think of the denominator as a cake and the... Wait, I like that. And inverting the fraction is a knife made out of metal. If you don't invert the fraction, it's like you're cutting a whole cake with a whole cake. Okay, the denominator I can see is pieces of a cake. Inverting the fraction is a knife made out of metal. If you don't invert the fraction, it's like you're cutting a whole cake with a whole cake. Because you can't cut it into smaller pieces. Now, I was able to visually represent 30 divided by 1/10. But when I get into like 30 divided by 1/10 is you're cutting those 30 cakes into 1/10 of a size each, and you're asking how many slices did I make? And so with that, when you're asking how many slices did I make, then it becomes 300. That I understand. How many even slices did you make? Yes. Correct. If you do 30 divided by 1/10. So you're cutting each of the 30 cakes into 1/10 sizes each. And that, that's fairly easy, but when you get into dividing a decimal by decimal, it doesn't matter. For example, who cares what so much of a pizza looks like? No wonder you gave up on math. I mean, it makes you think too hard, huh? Alright, sorry I bored you guys with that. If you come across like a picture that makes it sense.
Now, we will be going over dividing. 1. Side number. So now I'm just going to give myself a little bit more space and erase this. Using the 31 0 times, since it's at 51.
I know that you always move the decimal over, it's just...
So now how many times does 51 go in?
Anyway, here's David.
It sure helps having a down jacket that goes to 20 below zero when you go out into a 38-degree weather area, It really feels warm. Yeah, me too.
Dividing decimals by
Suspicious. I look like I'm suspicious? Yeah, it's not even that cold here, but 38 degrees is significant. I made you some a brand new blend of yogurt and cream cheese that they're making now. It's like 50% the fat. Oh, that's mine. I haven't made yours yet. But if you
I already had some.
You had some food. Okay, I'll eat that later. Yeah. I'm trying to turn the. I'm trying to keep. I have the heat on. Yeah, I have an infrared heater. It just takes like 3 hours to heat up the room. But I'm trying to limit my carbohydrates in the wintertime because I know this is a time when my genetic trait ancestry used to stoke up on the carbs and get ready for the winter there. Because I guess winter doesn't start till December 20th or 21st or something. So I have to really fight that. Do you believe in genotypes? Carl Jung supported the idea that we all have genetic characteristics that are carried forth, even personality characteristics. It makes me look like the Unabomber? No, that's ridiculous. I do. I'm an immortalist, David Nation. Yes. A common criminal. This is an Eddie Bauer jacket that could take me anywhere. I could literally live on the... I'm not high, man. You are. I could live on the Sudan. I could live in the middle of North Norway, or it doesn't matter where I go. I don't think I could be frozen at all. No, this is like really this is super warm. This is 20 below rated. We picked this up at an Eddie Bauer outlet. I love it.
Oh man!
Don't criticize this. What are you doing? What's happening?
I'm trying to copy something in the chat, and when I did, Charlotte, the Perils of Commodore.
Okay.
Let's see.
Take a look at it. We'll process that info.
Okay, I wrote it down. I'll look her up.
I'll make some hot cocoa.
Thank you. I actually think I got one of them that finally helped me understand at least the reason why. Okay, because it doesn't matter if 5 divided by 5 is the same as 50 divided by 50 is the same as 500 divided by 500. So that's why you move the zeros in the denominator, you move them in the divisor and the dividends the same amounts. I get it. I get that part. So there's not really a graphic that goes with that. But anyway. No, 2 times 4 is 8. Thank you. I'll have to show you guys my this thing I created today. Down and out in Honolulu, go to sleep, go to jail. The homeless population of Honolulu is falling victim to one of the meanest attacks in the country. Their rights are limited and they are forced out of sight. It's wrong, it's heartless, it won't solve anything. Well, with this, aren't they, when they go to jail, it's just giving them a place to sleep? I mean, how long are they in jail for? Till they wake up? That's what I would wonder. No, I don't believe in that, Captain Howdy. No, 2937. Why would I ever say that? No, absolutely not. All right. I think I saw enough. Yes, I do support legalizing prostitution. Only, I mean, I personally believe it would actually, I think that certain people that are going to engage in that kind of behavior are going to engage in it anyway. And I think that they're more likely to not spread disease because they're more likely to ask for proof of a recent blood test from the people that they're engaged in. There would also be it would be a lot more safe for the women that engage in that type of behavior, because I personally think, like, if they're engaged in that type of behavior, they're less likely to call the police officers and, for protection. And so that's why I think that it should be legalized. Yeah, exactly. All right. I was going to check out what's going on in the rest of the news. Yes, I was explaining my position, Cam. Bye. Go away. I don't have a ball and chain. No, I do not, Captain Howdy. I think that those kinds of things can happen behind closed doors. Whoa, so pot cops shows wasted resources in California? I tend to think that you're right. The war on marijuana is pointless. Thank you for the hot cocoa, David.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
I tried those stale tortilla chips.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out they're stale.
They're stale?
Yeah, but they're still edible.
Which stale tortilla chips?
The ones I got for 79 cents for a 2-pound bag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're stale, but they're still edible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with you. It just costs money and criminalizes plant. We want to legalize marijuana on a federal level. I'll just go to heck, slap a little cheese on him and melt it. It'll be good as new.
It'll be fine.
Really? It's legal in Sweden? Really? Yeah, good question, Ninja Heart. Good question. On the beach? The act may be considered to be disorderly conduct. Sweden has a really robust child protection system. Oh my goodness. I think they're kind of mixed up over there. I never had an IQ test done, so I don't know where my IQ ranks. Correct. Obama cannot run for a third term. He would not interfere on a federal level if states decided to decriminalize and legalize it. What did he say in 2008, though? 1553. Because I have long hair, that's why I might look like her. Stop. I don't know, Captain Howdy. I just really, doesn't matter to me what my IQ is. I do, I think my parents are pretty smart. I mean, yes, I do. In their own way.
We're all smart in our own way. We all have unique intelligences.
Yeah.
My hairdo has an IQ. My brain has an IQ. My mouth has an IQ.
Your brain, what?
We all have, various types of IQs. Everyone likes everybody in this world. Guess 900. Everyone likes everybody.
That's pretty cool, Captain Howdy.
Well, I am younger today. Thank you, Guest 305.
Thanks for sharing, Walton.
Thank you for sharing. Would you like to have another topic to talk about?
Yes, David does remind me of that, maybe.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because Robert Oppenheimer actually touched my mother's belly when I was inside of it. My mother used to work at United Space Technologies, and she carried me during her final days of the pregnancy up until like 3 weeks before she delivered me. And I got to be a person that talked to, I was a baby. I was in her womb. Looking for my Robert Oppenheimer. I think it's in...
Were you a gamete or a zygote?
I was a zygote. I had advanced.
Or were you actually a fetus by that time?
Well, I don't know. Some people wonder if I was feces at that time. There's Robert Oppenheimer.
Laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that one way or another.
Wow. Yeah, Robert Oppenheimer touched my mother's stomach. It wasn't like she was wearing any, it wasn't like he touched her directly, but I was inside of her stomach when Robert Oppenheimer touched her. So I may very well be the somehow the geno descendant of Robert Oppenheimer's karmic Curlian waves as they psychically penetrated my fetus. Looking gray? I am. Speaking of the grays, yeah, that was Now I Become Death, the Destroyer of Worlds. Robert Oppenheimer quote. Thank you so much. Yeah, I want to be a bright, positive person in life. I don't want to be a negative person. And I thought Robert Oppenheimer was kind of negative, considering he had to create the bomb that killed over 200,000 people in Hiroshima. Actually, it was 100,000, I believe, in Hiroshima. But combined, it was 200,000 with Nagasaki. David, do you work with any one form of the government? No, Walton, I do not work for any part of the government. My prototype was strictly developed for personal, corporate, non-corporate use. Would you love to have Sarah as a teacher? I know. Soylent Green is humans. I know. That robot voice keeps kicking in. I don't understand why. I am not the Terminator. The Terminator's a different dude entirely. I mean, he's got different glasses. He's, the whole thing. I'm just a regular average Joe, Nothing special about me except 185 IQ. Yes, I would like Sarah to be my vice president. If she'll be the right person for the job. I know the American people want her to run for president, so I'd like to choose her. And she's over 35. She can do this. We're just waiting for all of you to wake up from the slumber and propagandized, brainwave-controlled, fluoridated world that you're living in. And perhaps I'll be like waiting for Godot, The guy never comes, never arrives, the end of the story. Godot never makes it. I will not be working with any female interns. I have completely been stripped of my masculinity. I am gender nonspecific. I wouldn't mind having a Jesse Ventura in a key position, possibly head of the conspiracies. We're going to open up the conspiracy department. There's not enough departments as it is. Energy, interior, education. There needs to be a conspiracy department, I think. I never had sexual relations with anyone ever in my life. Not even my wife. I never had unprotected sex once in my entire life. I think Connie could do just fine talking to the media every day. She'd have a ball. She could be media liaison. I want a different press secretary, though. I never inhaled anything, not even air.
Hi, Frankly.
Hey, Frankly. I just want to say that Bill Clinton looks really old right now. I don't know what's wrong with him. I hope he's okay. I like how over here it's all free, but over here we're crunched over here because the camera somehow migrated over there, and I think the entire system migrated over here. It's like we're all a little tweaked. I think Ron Paul is a little better than RuPaul. I know Ron Paul's a dude, for one. I like the book that he wrote, Erase the Debt. Or, excuse me, not Erase the Debt. End the Fed. I was thinking we're going to need to erase the debt, but end the Fed. Let's start with that. Okay. Well, I don't know about that. It is the after show, and I'm not afraid to say that I believe that dude looks like a lady. Yeah, I really do. I don't see how you couldn't see that. I don't think a lot about David Icke or David Icke. Primarily because of his reptilian tendencies. I bet I do snore on occasion. I sometimes snore, sure, everyone does. I'd be glad to calm down and give you a great smile. Okay, you tell me how to behave. Hello, Shrek. Welcome to the show. I am now smiling most of the time because I have been told to smile during our show. Sarah is drinking some hot cocoa that I made from a particular package titled Nestle's Dark Chocolate. No, I don't say anything inappropriate in my sleep. There's nothing to say that's inappropriate. Most of my random brain patterns are completely designed to defrag my hard drive. During the evening, my brain is my battery system, and it is used to develop energy and clear my hormone structure, silicon-based. Hey, what's up, man? Just having a lot of fun. You know, Conspiracy Monday is kind of like, wake up, let's have a Monday, you know, let's do it. I can see the chat. I'm live on YouTube when I see the chat right now. I'm live on YouTube and I see the chat in Bond. But when we're in archived recording, no, I don't see the chat at that time. If you're trying to chat to an empty recording, it's not happening. David, do you sleepwalk sometimes in the nude in your neighborhood? No. I've never been caught sleepwalking in the nude. It's Monday, I know, you forgot it's the beginning of the week. No, Walton, I don't believe we need Alex Jones as vice president. You can only imagine what that would be like. I mean, look at Joe Biden. Joe Biden is to Barack Obama as Alex Jones would be to me. Oh, thank you, Sea-Dog. I never did streak. There is a guy that streaked at my particular graduation. Kind of ruined my entire valedictorian thing, too. Yeah, it doesn't seem like Lee wants to answer to all the allegations. She's bad-mouthing me. Yeah, I don't know. You guys, give it a shot. There's something about the press, they don't want to talk to the people. Yeah, it's something very suspicious about that, don't you think? When the press doesn't talk to the people. No, there was a guy that ran across my entire graduation day naked because it was streaking in 1977 was the thing to do, you know? And it was going on all around the country. And this guy ran literally across the field butt naked. Totally blew my entire valedictorian experience. But who cares, really? Yeah, you did it? I was wondering who was the one who did it. Sir, I feel like I'm bunched over in the corner here. And as you can see, it's kind of a problem because the camera somehow got over here. Is there a way we can move the camera over this way? I'm going to make an executive decision to move the camera over here. And then I'm going to make an adjustment to the background. Okay? Just bear with me here. Is that good?
That's good.
Okay. Almost. A little forward. Hopefully that'll be good. Not quite. Close enough. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Sea-Dog. Fine with me.
All right, so, you know, since conspiracies don't tend to pop up on their own, I'd like to bring up a few conspiracies. I don't drink anything but coffee. Monica Lewinsky does not necessarily, I would not say no to Monica asking for a job in the White House. She could be maybe the concessions girl down at the mezzanine. Cigars, cigarettes, vapes, you know, something like that. No, I kept David Sponheim, I believe, is my registered name for 2016. But I keep David John Sponheim on the screen because there's another guy named David Sponheim out there. And I don't want to be confused with him. I have never had any kind of sexual contact with anybody, ever. I've always worn protection.
Well, David's, you know. I'll scoot the camera to the right.
Yes. Whatever you want to do. You want to talk about Common Core? Sure. What about the Common Core conspiracy? Because I think Sarah and I are both in disagreement on Common Core.
Yeah.
I don't think it's important that we pursue that because it kind of drives a wedge between us.
What's your opinion on the Common Core?
Well, I tend to believe it's an arm of the global New World Order. They're trying to control children and ultimately make them less intelligent because it kind of gives them a free pass when they do their work and they don't really come up with the right answer. They still get points in the Common Core system. I think that kind of encourages a lower...
I don't know if that's the case.
Well, it has been one of the criticisms people had of the Common Core is that you want to give kids credit for their work. And if they don't have the right answer, they still get credit. So it's this concept of testing that I don't like, period. I don't like excessive testing. And Common Core, it does include excessive testing, just like No Child Left Behind did.
Yeah.
So I'm against excessive testing on kids. That's my concern. It doesn't matter about... Sex is not important. It's the least important thing in your life. Believe it or not, you may think it's the most important, it's the least important. What matters most is, are you breathing? Are you able to get up? Do you have back pain? I tend to believe it does stifle creativity, I agree. I know, and Richard Feynman said it doesn't matter how you come up with the answer, just that it's correct. There you go.
What do you think on that, 7163? Do you agree with that? That it doesn't matter how you come up with the answer, just that it's correct?
I tend to think if it's the correct answer, it's the right answer.
So it doesn't matter how they come up with it. That's actually what I think too.
Well, great.
We actually agree on that.
Well, good. And a lot of these people here don't like Common Core, even though, I think the original intent of Common Core was to standardize testing and to come up with a standardized way of giving
standardized
kids
standards.
So standardization is great, but Common Core itself steps over the boundaries. Plus, I want to encourage the intrinsic motivational desire of kids to learn. And I don't think I'm going to do that, taking 3 weeks out of the year to test them and not even give them the answers to the test, just give them test questions. So I'm a little concerned about that aspect too. People aren't standard, and everyone has different, unique intelligences. Yeah, and I think Common Core does turn people into a sheeple. I agree. But that's my concern. So it doesn't matter. Sarah's immersed in teaching, so she is a person who has every reason to...
I think good teaching is good teaching, no matter if it's Common Core or not. Sometimes when I go in the classroom and teach, I don't know if I would say it's necessarily Common Core, but I see what they want the kids to know, and I teach my best so like the kids know what they are supposed to know.
Right.
Few people laughed. Few people cried.
I just think this is one of the most prophetic statements made by a man who he was involved in the Los Alamos Project, Manhattan Project. He was pulled off the Manhattan Project because of his supposed communist family involvement, whatever. Bottom line is they forced him to finish creating the bomb, threatening his family. And he said these things right before the end of a very seriously traumatic period for him. And it really does him a disservice to even play his stuff more than once, because he really is one of a kind, Robert Oppenheimer. Yeah, it does need to start in the home education, but you see, I think teaching should not be punished. I don't think teachers should be punished. And I think Sarah and I agree that teachers shouldn't be held completely accountable for their kids' work results like they're doing in New York. They're leading the country in many ways, in a way I think that really does not answer to the simple fact that learning is a give and take proposition. And yes, a teacher cannot control how much of her giving is taken in. And there's no way that you can isolate the variables, because there's a family life involving a kid's growth. There's their food intake, which heavily involves their ability to learn. There's their peer group and the pressure to learn or not learn. So all these factors are playing into it. For us to punish teachers like Obama's doing right now in some states, and the way the law is set up, it kind of puts the education system on alert, saying, "Oh, teachers could lose their job if they don't, follow up." I think that's a huge mistake. We need to thank our teachers, make sure that they know that they have our support, and give them as many tools as they need to teach kids. Period. That's the way to do it. And kids really, really are interested in robotics. They really are, and they get into ideas like learning coding, ironically, more than they get into fractions. So if kids are embraced in coding, which has nothing to do with fractions, they might want to, move more in the direction of coding as opposed to our emphasis on fractions, which technically we're not even supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be a decimal point driven system, what never happened. So, what are fractions? You're from another country, you don't know. What do you spend the signed coffee cup money on? What? I don't know what you're talking about. What's signed coffee cup money?
The money from the signs and coffee cups. We don't make any actual revenue from Cafe Press or the other site because we just set those as promotions. So all of that goes to their costs, the overhead. Yeah. We didn't put any.
There may be a small commission on some designs because they're America's third-party designs, but we don't normally get paid at all for any of that.
Actually, we're not number 38 on the world stage. You should look up Tim's and Pearl's. There was a time that we were lower on the world stage. I would like to know if you think we're 38, what specifically are you getting that information from? If you look at these two tests, Tim's and Pearl's, you'll find that we are not that low anymore.
If you want to look up our records of all our income that we brought in for America's Third Party, simply go to fec.gov and then type in my last name, or my full name. And you'll have all of the records. We submit that in every quarter, and it's all right there for you to look at. You're welcome to come in here if you lean left. I don't care. We're a unique effort here because we bring people from the left and the right into our show.
You're bad at math, but you're never allowed a calculator. I don't allow calculators in elementary school.
People need to learn math the hard way. Math is like a muscle. You have to use it if you really want to know how to do math.
Okay. Yes, or I even go with an expression, not just an equation, but yes, they're teaching things can be written in equations as young as first grade now.
This just came in.
This Common Core is teaching kids to write things as an equation in first grade.
Right. This just came in from one of our viewers, Captain Howdy. The Wizard of Oz and the Illuminati mind control. Now, many people don't realize this, but the Wizard of Oz is a allegory for a theory that there is kind of this old crotchety guy sitting behind the scrim pretending to be the all-knowing Wizard of Oz. And turn what off? Is there something on?
You may be excused. Please go to the restroom.
Okay. Well, what did I have to turn off? Was there something on that was bothering you?
Wizard of Oz, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they're upset with Judy Garland. They have a personal thing against Jewish girls. We get a lot of people who don't like one particular group of people or the other in our show. We're not in any way like that. We accept everyone as they are. You'd love to see Common Core kids draw pictures to figure out 3,591 times 8,318, 227,625. Talking about the gold and silver standard, that's kind of funny, yeah. In modern anti-Semitism is a person who hates Jewish people. Wow.
Very good.
In the modern world, an anti-Semite is a person who Jewish people hate. Really? A trip to the universe. See, I brought up a little flair there. A trip to the universe is very upset that he's been called an anti-Semite by Jewish people. Wow. The alternative meaning of Wizard of Oz is interesting. Anyone want to join a local Kaddish team? I don't
even know what that is.
Yeah, I don't even know what a Kaddish team does. Do we have to know to pass the exam, or can I not remember that, teacher? Thanks. Everyone will be quizzed in the next 15 minutes on everything they've seen in the chat. If you fail the quiz, we will be forced to continue showing you more of the same show. All right. I don't have 5 years of tax returns. Yeah. Yeah, get your cheat sheet ready. I stopped filing taxes 4 years ago because I don't make any money. I retired. Okay, Walton said I have to go get more coffee. I'll be right back. Thank you for giving me an instruction, Walton. I appreciate that.
Oh. I would still be paying taxes. I mean, doesn't matter on anyone I give it to. Okay. Oh, interesting. What if I just click sign in? Okay, I'm gonna go back to login. Okay, let me go back to this. So you guys can check out the test, the practice test for the Common Core, what they require of students here. So there you go. And then you can see what's really on, at least what they claim is really on the going to be on the test and what they require of students. I just typed in S. That's one of them. And then there's another one which is called...
Yeah, it'd be a great...
I understand most people don't like it. I'm not trying to convince you to like it. It's fine with me that you don't like it. And this is, I'm just giving you all of that information. This is the one that is, this is another one. That's the other Common Core practice test. So, those are it. Anyway, let's talk about something totally different. How is it going with the world in general? Politics starting to heat up. And I'm sure it'll start to heat up a little bit more next year in 2015. How low will oil go? That's a good question. A lot of people say that oil is actually, no, 706. That oil is actually going lower so that the world politics can control Russia and the Ukraine. You want to spread awareness and vote against ESLA and other self-driving electric cars? self-driving electric cars are causing mayhem? Huh. That's funny. Am I buying oil stocks? No, that's a good idea, though. That's a very good idea. I don't make my own oil. How could someone make their own oil? Maybe they could grow enough safflowers or sunflowers or something like that. Your family's into oil? I never got into oil. But I think I haven't been buying oil stocks, but now that you bring that up, maybe I should, since I'm losing money all over the other place. Yes, it is making Keystone less enticing when the oil prices go down. It's true.
Yeah, so it's all good. It's all wonderful.
So the Australians figured out how to synthesize oil a few years ago?
Yeah. I'd like to Google it. I don't think we have a problem with oil now that the price has dropped significantly around the world.
Right. I agree that you're right. That one size does not fit all students. I definitely agree with that. Absolutely. I do think whenever possible we need to push students to use the critical thinking skills and think deeply, but you're right, sometimes that just is not always possible.
Well, it's also possible that the kids are being artificially dumbed down by the presence of fluoride in our water system. There's ample evidence to suggest that fluoride actually lowers the IQ of young people. And a study was recently done in Europe showing that radio frequencies from digital cell phone towers actually affect the kids' ability to perform on tests in Europe. Kids that were, I'm not joking, kids that were in areas without cell towers actually performed 20% higher on tests than kids in areas with cell towers.
Interesting. Now cell towers seem to be everywhere. And now to help students take a test on the they're putting in Wi-Fi everywhere.
My hair looks greasy. What do you mean greasy?
What do you do to filter fluoride?
I use reverse osmosis, and it eliminates all fluoride from my water. But I don't have fluoride in my water, so I don't have to really eliminate it.
No, Walton, I would not.
I don't blame Hedy
Lamarr.
No.
Maybe if it were legalized on a federal level, I may consider it.
I really believe that the higher oil prices, the better for the green technology. Are you kidding me? Are you out of your mind? You know, a guy came up with a way to create ethanol out of splits of grass, blades of grass. Switchblades, they call them. Anyway, he came up with this concept, and he got a call from the oil industry. And they said, switchgrass, thank you. They said to the guy, no matter how you try to create renewable energy and try to produce this stuff, the oil industry can just cut you out completely and drop the price of oil down to below whatever you're selling it for. So really the only way we're going to get away from the power of the oil industry is politically, by building a third party and legalizing marijuana, which will ultimately open up a bonanza of opportunity for America to create hempoline, a completely renewable energy source developed to power up diesel trucks. And that's something that is real. And the two parties can't understand that. Barack Obama can't understand the importance of legalization, even though he himself recently embraced Native Americans being able to grow weed on tribal lands. And he said himself that he smoked marijuana most of his adult life. If you're wondering whether Barack Obama is a puppet, the bottom line is his recent decision to not legalize marijuana has got to be, the all-time stupidest thing anyone could ever do, and most likely exemplary of a puppet. All right? He's obviously controlled by other forces. The intelligent thing to do would be to legalize marijuana across the country, save this country a lot of money, and build a huge industry of renewable energy. So yeah, and already the rampant use of shale oil around the country is dropped to lower the price of oil worldwide because of the increase in supply. And there are many people that argue that the oil crude prices are going down to like close to $55 a barrel, which is very close to the production value of oil. How much it costs to really produce it. Because of those prices have gone down, the Saudi Arabian nations are still producing a tremendous amount, and they're still committed to producing a tremendous amount. We are possibly looking at them trying to cut our business down. A lot of shale oil companies have been started in America on the intent that the price could be $3 a gallon or $4 a gallon for oil. Not that they'd be $2.20 a gallon. So a lot of companies are getting fleshed out right now. So maybe it is the crude oil companies and OPEC trying to flush out American production. It's possible. That could be a conspiracy theory right there. But for whatever reason, whether it's supply or demand, the price has gone down for the consumer, which is great. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for coming into our show. Sarah spends, quite a bit of time talking to you guys, and I think you should all appreciate how much she's put out in terms of time and energy, considering she was working on the side too. Oil prices are totally manipulated. And because our government does not have any oversight over the price of oil, they see it as a commodity, not a resource. I don't make her work at all. Actually, I told Sarah, you don't have to pay any rent and you don't have to work. I've actually said that many times. She wants to do it for her own purposes. She's building her retirement. It's for her own purposes. I admire what she's doing. She's doing what is right for a lot of people to, build their future. She's very dedicated. Yeah. What's that?
I'm doing what's right for me.
What's right for Sarah, yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I see whatever's good for Sarah is good for me. Because I don't want her to feel in any way like she's sacrificing anything to work on any project that we're doing, like this party. It's something that we started with the intent that the American people would be jumping on board with it in time, but we didn't realize how long. We're still trying to figure that out. Yeah. Well, it's either one, A or B, Butterick. Yeah, it could also be NATO putting pressure against Russia, because Russia has got a lot of oil revenue that's leveraged against the world price of oil. So yeah, it could be one or the other. OPEC pushing American shale oil production out, or it could be both. NATO pressure against Russia. So legalization of marijuana is central to what America's Third Party is all about. We also have other concepts that are clearly different from the two parties. We want to bring our troops home and stop this being police force around the world. And we want to end the Federal Reserve. A big important factor in getting rid of the expanded credit economy and helping the American government toggle down its spending and get a pay-as-you-go plan that will be affordable for the American taxpayer and for the American people in general. I don't think the oil boom is ever going to be over. I believe that oil itself is a natural resource, and most Democrats and environmentalists don't agree. But I'm an environmentalist at heart that would truly believe the solid science behind what I'm saying. And I'll explain very simply what I'm saying. It's quite easy to understand from a layman's perspective.
On June 21st, 2010, John Watson, Hurricane Creek Keeper, and South Wings pilot Tom Hutchins once again set out across the Gulf of Mexico for the source of the BP Slick. Today we were joined by writer David Helbart, author of Saved by the Sea, a love story with fish. It didn't take long after leaving the shores to find our first oil. In the mouth of Mobile Bay, there were patches of light sheen seen behind the islands. You couldn't see it from the beach, but 1.2 miles off Gulf shore, there was a solid mass of oil. On previous flights, behind Petty Boy Island, all we had seen was light sheen.
All right. Oil production occurs within the Earth's mantle. And I would argue with any geologist that because they have found oil 10,000 feet below the lowest point in the ocean floor, there's no way you can simply say that oil is the direct result of dinosaurs melting into the ground. denitrifying into a slick, oily mash. It isn't necessarily all composted or denitrified material creating oil. The Earth is comprised of carbon, and the center of the Earth is a cauldron of potential oil-bearing carbon. So to say that oil is not a renewable resource is absurd, in my opinion. There are areas where the Earth is literally at the surface. I can't wait to get this new mouse from Christmas. We've got it in somebody's stocking right now. And I have a great picture of the Yellowstone behind me. And I'll show it to you. Bubble and crude. This is the caldera. This is the very closest point of the Earth that is an open sore. And you can see that easily any number of particles are working together to create a sulfur bath and oil and carbon and all kinds of things. I mean, it's showing right there in front of our face. We can see it. It doesn't take a genius to realize that, yeah, the Earth is producing its own oil. But we couldn't get any scientists to agree with that right now, because most science is based on flawed premises, and junk science has been developed in modern years just to fuel the university system, to promote false thinking, false beliefs. And there's a lot of things we just cannot verify coming out of the academic community, including climate change. Yeah, I mean, they're here to promulgate false flags and lots of BS. No, this is burning, boiling Earth behind me. This could very well be the worst natural disaster in world history someday. If this turns into a massive volcano in Yellowstone, we're going to see a massive amount of clouds of dust over our Earth's surface, which could very well ignite the anaerobic oxygen-free sulfur beds, which grow in the middle of the ocean and release toxic sulfuric acid into the air that we breathe. Wrong, wrong again. Oil and rocks coexist everywhere. I can't believe how absolutely imbecilic a lot of people are who have 4 or 5 PhDs. It just blows my mind. When oil is found right next to rocks, you're saying rocks have nothing to do with oil. What an idiot. What are they, handing out PhDs for feline imbeciles in France? There you go, coal. Hey, there you go, coal. Wow, coal lives right next to shale coal, lives right next to granite. Gee, I wonder how that happened. Well, believe me, you wouldn't learn a lot from where you're coming from, because you're already a fool. You are what I call an educated fool. Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. They don't have any logical thinking capacity. They simply regurgitate what they're told at school, and then they think they get a degree doing that. Did I say his name? I'm merely responding to him in chat. I never called him out by name. Well, we are all in danger. You don't think I'm in danger right now? Yeah, this could easily bubble up and kill all of us. I already told you that the possibilities are enormous for some sort of an environmental crisis in America. But I want to do other things besides bringing the troops home and ending the Federal Reserve and legalizing marijuana. I actually want to create solutions that will solve America's problems. And that would include renewable energy solutions, like this vertical windmill that I talk about on our show. Have you guys seen that segment where I talk about the idea of putting a Savonius windmill on top of telephone poles all across the country? Well, it does exist. Yeah, if you get 10 PhDs, you will be irrelevant. Damn you, that's my idea. Yeah, it's everybody's idea. But for some reason, we can't make it happen. And the American people don't understand that the oil companies don't want something like this. They don't want something that makes sense. They want to limit the amount of green energy tax credits rolling out too, because they've already gotten their money and they're done. There you go. Yeah, there's a lot of people who want to assassinate a person with a great idea or many great ideas. Why do you think I live under the veil of anonymity? Nobody knows who I am. Everyone who I talk to, do you know who I am? No, you don't. Nobody knows who you are. But I am a person running for office, and I truly am a write-in candidate for 2016. And I really do want to get this country on the right track. But we can't do it with the oil companies controlling everything. We can't do it with big major corporations from overseas telling our country and our two parties what to do. No, I'm hiding in plain sight. No one takes me seriously. I'm just telling you, there's a reason people don't take me seriously. Because I've had to go out on a limb, literally, to get noticed. So in the process of going on a limb to get noticed, and people don't get this, especially Democrats and Obama-tards, they don't realize that I actually had to do a video in 2008 just to get myself seen by larger groups of people. No one cares who I am. No one cares about a white man running for Congress who wants to legalize marijuana. No one. My qualifications, Nancy, are that I have fantastic ideas. The country could use a person with my intelligence. And I meet all the qualifications for president. I've lived in this country for 14 consecutive years, contiguous. I am a U.S. citizen, natural born. I was born in Los Angeles. And I am 35 or older. I'm actually 54 years old. But the problem in America really is not about people with great ideas not being able to get to the mainstream media. The problem really is more about everyone being artificially brain dead and turned into human wallpaper. So, we gather every night with the intention of, in some way, making you more aware of what's going on in the world. But without any greater awareness on a national level, we're unfortunately going to be doomed to the same fate the Jewish people were doomed to in World War II. What awaits the American people, unfortunately, is the same fate of the ethnic minorities in World War II. And I can see the handwriting on the wall. A lot of you can see the handwriting on the wall right now. I'm not the only one exposing the simple fact that this country is literally being, right out of the same playbook the Nazis used, literally being turned into mental vegetables. Complacent, completely complacent, and unwilling to accept any possibility of another party ruling out any change in America at all. Isn't this a cool picture? I love this picture. Oh, I just saw a major shift in the time-space continuum. Those are my brains dribbling out of my head at rapid speed, faster than the speed of light, more powerful than a locomotive. Yeah, space is awesome. Hi, Dave. I guess 7408-159-092. Yeah, it's got like Harley wings, dude. Yeah. Okay, so who's homophobic here? I want to know. Amy's here. Soup had a lot of soup. Amy, I don't mention Jewish people in a negative way at all. I merely said last time you got upset. Well, I'll ban you from the room, Amy, if you want to be banned. Last time you got upset, I merely stated a fact. Okay, that's all. Walton, I don't do voices on cue. You know how much it costs a professional voiceover artist like me to do that on cue? Have you had any idea what that would cost you? I'm not going to give you a freebie. All right. No, my facts are absolutely correct, and I stand by the facts that the Jewish media is controlled by Jewish people. And I even had a person go on and show that to you, verbatim. And the banking community is mostly run by Jewish people. There's nothing against Jewish people, they're all good people. But there's a problem with certain ones that have gained power and control over very key industries that affect the future of this great nation. Let's wake up, people. I'm not saying every Jewish person or every Catholic person or every Christian person is a good person. I never said that. Yeah, the Rothschilds own a lot. And let's start with this Jewish family that you may not realize in your little searches on the internet, Amy. There's a list of banks. I would like to take you on a little tour of a list of banks that the Rothschild family owns. Alrighty? We've got 4 minutes. Maybe we can go through this one by one. Yeah, when you say that they don't own the banking industry, and this is the biggest family and Jewish family that owns the banking industry, Amy? No, not the 5 major banks in the U.S., baby. This is the Rothschild family, the Jewish family called the Rothschild family. And in their entirety, Amy, they own over 160 banks. And one of the things that Baron M.A. Rothschild said was, give me control over a nation's currency and I care not who makes its laws. I told you there's a lot of frontmen at every bank that are not Jewish. I told you that. Many CEOs of banks are not Jewish. I'm talking about the people who own the bank, Amy. All right, since you're not really paying attention, I'll just go through it. Bank of Afghanistan, Bank of Albania, Bank of Algeria, Central Bank of Argentina, Central Bank of Armenia, Central Bank of Aruba, Central Reserve Bank of Australia, Austrian National Bank, Central Bank of Azerbaijan Republic, Central Bank of the Bahamas, Central Bank of Bahrain, Bangladesh Bank, Central Bank of Barbados, the National Bank of the Republic of Belarus, National Bank of Belgium, that's a big one, Central Bank of Belize, Central Bank of West African States, Bermuda Monetary Authority, Royal Monetary Authority of Bhutan, Central Bank of Bolivia, Central Bank of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Bank of Botswana, Central Bank of Brazil, Bulgarian National Bank, Central Bank of West African States, Bank of the Republic of Burundi, National Bank of Cambodia, Bank of Central African States, Bank of Canada, Cayman Islands Monetary Authority, that's a big one right there, Bank of Central African States, the Bank of Chad, Central African States, Central Bank of Chile. Shall I continue, Amy? Because I'm just getting started. Thank you. Central Bank of Uranus, Central Bank of Neptune. You tricked me. There is no Central Bank of Uranus. Unless you call it the cornhole. David, you said Jewish control. Yes, they do control. No, all banks, including U.S. banks. Look at the Federal Reserve, the overseeing authority over U.S. banks, Amy, happens to be on this list. Yeah. Would you like me to take you there? It's called the United States Federal Reserve System. That's owned by the Rothschilds too, which owns all the banks. Amy, were you born with a limited ability to perceive the truth, or are you just living in a dream world? We may have to ban you, Amy, because we're in a room with people actually wake up to the reality that our country is being controlled and hijacked by a lot of greedy people. Whether they're Jewish or Catholic or Christian or Hindu or Buddhist is irrelevant. The bag of cornholio. Amy is. Well, she came in to annoy you all. Stop the hate, everybody. Please stop the hate. If someone came up with the Bank of Jesus, would you be offended, Amy? If somebody came up with a Bank of Jesus and took over everybody's income and assets? Jesus Savings and Loan. Save with the Savior. Well, and what if all the Jewish banks were taken over by the Jesus Banking and Savings and Loan? Yeah. You begin to understand why everybody's a little resentful that the Rothschilds own everything. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, we're at the end of the show. We appreciate your visit tonight on our show, and our archive footage is available at our Hangout. Thank you all so much for coming in. I can't tell you how meaningful it is. I am not a homosexual, never have had any homosexual relations, don't even want it. So stop fantasizing about me. Please. I know as attractive as I am not gay. Thank you. No, I'm not homophobic. I just don't like sexual harassment like that which you're doing right here, which is prosecutable by the punishment of the ban. Anyone who sexually harasses anybody will be prosecuted with the fullest extent of the law. Hi, Nick. You came into the end of the show, man. Come on back tomorrow. We're going to be doing our Truth Tuesday, where we follow up on key things that are truly happening. The oil industry does control the engines in your car, making them less efficient. Yes, they are preventing renewable energy products from being sold and licensed around the world. Patents are being bought up and suppressed. Yes, we talk about that tomorrow night. I am live, man. I'm live right now. Oh, you're talking about Nick? I don't know. Nothing should be done with Jewish people. They're free to practice their religion. We need to make more opportunity for everybody to become doctors, lawyers, bankers, or media moguls. That's all. More opportunity for everybody. God bless freedom, and God bless America. Thank you so much for coming in. She'll be back tomorrow, and she's not my wife. She'll be back tomorrow to talk to you guys and console you. Take care, everyone. See you in the distant galaxies in another dimension.